Hi, I'm Park Howell with The Business of Story, and I've had the absolute honor of working with Forever for 25 years. I started working with them back in 1995, and Forever gave me my start actually in presenting and training on storytelling when, in 2011, at the Super Rally in Washington, D.C., I trained over 4,000 distributors, about a 2-hour session, and it was just one of the most greatest highlights of my life. And at that time, I knew that I wanted to go in, coach, teach, consult, and speak on the power of story to help leaders around the world craft and tell compelling stories that sell. So it's an honor here to be with you today, and I'm going to show you one of the most powerful foundational narrative frameworks that I have learned in my story journey that you can apply immediately in your Forever business to start growing your business, bringing in more prospects, distributors, selling more product, and actually you can even apply this on your own personal life. My goal is to help you clarify your storytelling, to amplify your impact, and simplify your life. You ready? Let's get going. One of my favorite memoirs I've ever read that I think does a wonderful job of business storytelling is Phil Knight's book called Shoe Dog. And in it, he says this: I believed that if people got out and ran a few miles every day, the world would be a better place. And I believed these shoes were better to run in. People, sensing my belief, wanted some of that belief for themselves. Belief, I decided, belief is irresistible. What do you believe in your Forever business? And how do you share that belief with the world, especially now in these uncertain times when people are looking for truth, they're looking for trust, and they're looking for something to believe in? Well, I'm going to show you how to quickly share your Forever story. In fact, I call it story gelling. I mean, why not? You have such an amazing company you work for that impacts people the world over, has for 42 years. And now, more than ever, during this great disruption in our life, it's time for you to start sharing your story with more people and show them the benefits of living into Forever Living products and the beautiful heritage that it represents. So today, I'm going to help you clarify your story to amplify your impact and simplify your life. And the first place I want you to go and look at is this wonderful book that the team pulled together of stories from through 40 years of Forever. Read those stories. They're inspirational. Share them. See how they're structured, because you have these same stories in you and you simply need to tell them. Stories are important because they light up the theater of our mind. Our brain sitting on top of our head is just 2%, makes up just 2% of our body mass, and yet it consumes 20% of our energy. It actually wants to be lazy. It doesn't want to have to go searching for meaning. It wants it hand delivered to it so it doesn't have to work for it. Stories do that because they place something in context and they light up the theater of the mind. Just think about when you hear a great story, how it can give you chills or make you cry. You live vicariously through the stories you tell, and I want you to become a stronger storyteller. And it's more important now than ever because we live in this land of abundance. Your customers, your prospects have innumerable choices to go to, and you have to make it easy to find that one choice, that forever choice. And you do that through the power of story. In addition to this massive amounts of product and brands that you are all competing with out there, you're also competing with this noise, this massive amounts of noise that is being created every day that your customers have to choose to work between. Now, while our brilliant minds help create this technology that compounds it at the power of Moore's law, just doubling and tripling the amount of content pushed out, you and I are still running around with our monkey brain. The same limbic system that we use to survive the savannah is what we use to survive the internet and this barrage of information coming at us. But I've learned that story is so primal, it helps you hack through the noise and hook the hearts of your audiences. Let me take you on a little bit of a historical perspective of this. Let's go back to the savannah, say 30,000 BC. We have our cave dwellers here. On the left is Steve, we'll call him, our fairly rotund, maybe somewhat lazy cave dweller. And he looks at Thog, who's a bit disheveled in the doorway. And he says, "Thog, where you been?" And Thog says, "I went down to the river to catch saber-toothed salmon for dinner." Steve goes, "Uh-huh." Then Thog says, "But saber-toothed tigers show up." Steve goes, "Uh-oh, what'd you do?" Thog says, "Well, I give salmon to tiger. It likes salmon better than Thog. Therefore, I'm back here safely at fire with you." Steve goes, "Aha." Setup, uh-huh. Problem, uh-oh. Resolution, solution, answer, aha. Story structure so basic, even a caveman can do it. So where else have we seen this over time? Because I argue that storytelling is more important for our survival and evolution than our opposable thumbs. Well, let's jump ahead to 300 BC. Aristotle said every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And if you're like me upon hearing this, you probably say, well, duh. But here's the thing. In business, we leave out the middle, the complexity, the problem in the story. We show up, we introduce ourselves in the beginning, and then we immediately jump to the end and try to sell something. And we have not triggered that limbic primal system in our brain to sit up, take notice, and listen. Where else do we see it? Well, Shakespeare. He would write, and his stories were basically structured as plays in introduction, rising action, climax. Introduces us to the characters and their settings in the beginning, then pulls the rug out underneath them for the complexity and the problem. They fall in a hole. What do they do to get out of it? And then he gives you the climax or the resolution, and in it, a certain learning. Did you know even in music, the sonata allegro form, originally composed by Mozart, is a perfect 3-act structure: exposition, development, resolution. He introduces his themes up front, sets the stage, and then he pulls the rug out from underneath you by changing keys, inverting his themes, and bringing in all kinds of craziness, and then he brings it all together in the resolution at the end. You even see it in argument. The philosopher Hegel, in his famous dialectic, is all based on thesis, antithesis, synthesis. I say this, you say that, we have a debate, and we find a synthesis for our thinking. So you see, this structure is built into the psyche of being a human being. I call it the ABT, the and, but, therefore, and here's how you build it. So anytime you're going to sell a story, you're going to talk to somebody and you want to share it, just boil it down to these 3 basic principles. First, you set the context of your story. Where does this story happen? Who's it about? It's often really good here to place your customer or prospect in the context of the story so that they can buy into it. And then you raise the stakes. Why is this important? What's going on? What do they wish for and want in life? What are they trying to get to? So that's Act 1. That's your setup. You don't have to do any more than that. One and. Set the context and tell us why it's important. Raise the stakes. But here's the problem that they are trying to overcome that you can help them with. This is Act 2. This is setting up the complication of what's going on. And then that beautifully sets up your therefore or your solution. Therefore, we should be doing this. This is such a powerful framework. On first look, it seems like it can't be that powerful because it's so simple, but I'm telling you, this is how the limbic system, subconscious of your customer's brain works. And you can hack into that by using this very structure when you are telling your story. Let me show you an example of it. We are living in this global pandemic. And most people think the coronavirus won't affect them. That's my statement of agreement. Setting the stage, global pandemic, and then I'm raising the stakes. Most people think it won't affect them. But it nearly killed my brother. Now, what are you thinking right now? Did I trigger something in you? Did you go, whoa? Did you go, oh my goodness? Did you have a visceral reaction to that? But it nearly killed my brother. Therefore, listen to his story as a precautionary tale so COVID won't happen to you or a loved one. And my call to action is go and listen to his story on my podcast, show number 248. And he talks about a very healthy guy Didn't think that he had COVID, thought it was allergies, then a cold, then the flu, ended up in the hospital, ICU for 2 days, 4 additional days recovering. He was one of the first patients on remdesivir, and thank God it helped him. Now he's back home convalescing. Where else do you see this? Let's now put this in your world, in the world of what we're all living in, and where we're all a little bit shy about going out into it and maybe, start selling again and building again. And yet now in this disruptive time, it couldn't be more important than ever. So let's write an ABT for that. People around the world were excited about 2020 and plan to come together to create opportunities the new decade represented. But the coronavirus is keeping us apart. Therefore, I found the beautiful heritage of my forever family and the healthy products and financial well-being it affords me in these uncertain times to be invaluable. I'd like to share it with you. You can do that setup in 20 seconds or less and get people to buy into what you're looking for and say, look, I understand that we have this trouble in the world and we're all grappling with it. But boy, do you remember when you really had great faith in the opportunities that were ahead? But the coronavirus has completely disrupted that. I totally get that. However, therefore, I have this connection with this beautiful heritage of the forever family, and I simply want to share it with you. Again, people are looking for truth and trust out there. And boy, I can't think of a better place to find it than at Forever. So let me give you a little break, a little example of how to use this. And this is something that I've done and I've taught to some of your leaders at the Accelerate Club group. And it goes like this. I met so-and-so who wishes this. This is coming from your audience perspective. And it's important to them because of this. But the problem is this is what's holding him back. Therefore, Forever offers such and such. So let's just start filling in the blanks. And I just did this with fun. You can work this any way you like, but it gives you a taste of how this works. I met Mary, who wishes to make more money than she can earn as a housekeeper. And it's important because Mary wants to put her 2 daughters through college. But the problem is she doesn't want to take time away from her girls by working a second job. Therefore, Forever offers a proven income opportunity that will help Mary build savings for college and even buy herself a new car. Do you see how that works? It makes you focus on your audience. It's not about you. You come at the end at the therefore. It is about your audience. Place them right up top in that statement of agreement to demonstrate you understand their world and what they want out of it, the stakes in it. But then you go on and you can see what's holding them back, why they are not getting what they want to get. Therefore, you arrive as their mentor or their guide with Forever and help them create the life that they're really looking for. It all breaks down in this and button, therefore, and I color code it this way. The blue is just this nice sense of agreement. This is the way the world is, and it's nice, and it's important to be doing this. You want to really start off, with positivity up top here. But then you pull the rug out and say, but here's the problem that you're grappling with. And therefore, my solution for you is Forever. Now, I just had a short time today to give you a taste of what I do and how I teach in the overall story cycle system. And I wanted to share with you the and button there for the ABT because I have found it to be the most powerful thing you can do right now and use it every single day. If you have any questions for me whatsoever, please reach out to park@businessofstory.com. And if you like this training, let us know, and we can be doing more of these with you, long distance-wise down the road. And in the meantime, I want you to know I've got a new book out called Brand Bewitchery, How to Wield the Story Cycle System to Craft Spellbinding Stories for Your Brand. Just came out 2 weeks ago, and in it, it will teach you a number of different proven storytelling frameworks that you can use to enhance your personal brand and your forever brand so that you can make the impact in the world you seek. While you're doing all this and learning the journey, I want you to remember the last thing here, and that is the most potent story you will ever tell is the story you tell yourself. So make it a great one. Thanks so much for joining me on this Business of Story training, and I'm eager to see how your stories come together.